Hello everybody. In the previous video, we tried to understand Uttarabhadrapada Nakshatra to an extent. Now, we try to understand it much more in this video. Uttarabhadrapada is like a mysterious underwater snake, Ahirbudhnya, right? The deity of this nakshatra. That is the mysterious underwater snake. So it has so much of hidden talent, but there's a lot of inertia on top of it. So when you can break that inertia, then only the talent comes up. So in order to break that inertia, you may need a planet like Rahu, Sun, or Mars in this particular nakshatra. If not, the nakshatra gives lot of laziness. So basically, you observe the people like Rabindranath Tagore and Rajneesh Osho, as we discussed. Rabindranath Tagore has had actually the rising, the ascendant in Uttarabhadrapada Nakshatra, and Rajneesh Osho has Rahu in Uttarabhadrapada Nakshatra. And of course, Saturn's placement in the chart also matters much because that is the planetary ruler of this nakshatra. Now, there is a lot of discipline, focus, and concentration, systematic approach involved in the energy of this nakshatra as we discussed. If we see the behavior of Rabindranath Tagore or Rajneesh Osho, you can clearly understand how systematically they behave. And the destructive aspect, destructive energy present in this nakshatra also has some divine meaning, a divine plan behind the destruction. Because the destruction is needed for betterment of the society. So that's where that kind of destruction is actually present in this energy. And the calculative aspect of this nakshatra is very, very systematic. And every Uttara Bhadrapada is unique, as we discussed. Because you cannot show another Rabindranath Tagore in the world, the energy. You cannot show another Rajneesh Osho in the world. Their uniqueness is completely, it's different, right? Because that is a divine energy. When Saturn is much more mature, because Saturn's seed is in Pushyami and the flowering aspect is in Anuradha and the complete fruit is in Uttara Bhadrapada. Here Saturn has a lot of wisdom. It's not just a normal Saturn. It's not a hard-working Saturn alone. It's a kind of smart working wisdom oriented Saturn. The wisdom is completely divine. It's unique. It's very, very special. That kind of wisdom. Now, the calculative aspect is also very, very systematic. So, what is to be done? Let us say I want to take a decision in my life. So, what is to be done? What are the options present? And what are the pros and cons of each and every option? And they do it without any fear, without any nervousness, very, very deliberately, very, very systematically, very, very nicely, they can calculate this kind of stuff. So that is the energy is actually present here. And if a benefic planet is present in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, that's really a divine thing. And the calculative aspect of this nakshatra connects it to all the sciences related to the astrology, numerology, yoga, meditation, spirituality. So that is the area actually, because Uttarabhadrapada is in the natural 12th sign, Pisces, in the middle of it. Now, natives with Uttarabhadrapada rising on the ascendant, just like Rabindranath Tagore kind of people, usually have a kind of a sense of calmness, a sense of quietness. Serene is the word that you can always use for Uttarabhadrapada rising people. So they try their best to remain happy even in difficult, disturbing, and unfavorable circumstances. So, for Uttarabhadrapada rising people, just imagine the kind of the way of approach, right? Leading life, to lead a very calm and quiet life. So, even in the difficult, disturbing, and unfavorable circumstances, they try their best to be very happy. So, that's the beauty of Saturn, you can say, right? So, Uttara Bhadrapada has a tendency to give this kind of serene and calm, quiet nature. Now, Uttara Bhadrapada natives means the energy basically it produces a kind of shyness, kind of passive personalities, you can say, and they are in no hurry, right? In order to do whatever they want to do, they are in no hurry, because they know that with hurry we cannot gain anything. With hurry we only miss some content, we only miss some real essence of something, we may miss only that. With hurry we don't gain anything. They have this kind of motive. So if they have lot of evolution, something like we said, if they are very much experienced, they have a lot of wisdom with the help of other planets as well. So this kind of behavior can lead to a very systematic approach. That's what required in meditation, or spirituality, or yoga, or astrology, right? But in lowest aspect, it actually makes this energy makes them lazy. And a kind of inaction is always observed in this energy. If some malefic planet is present, so the placement of Saturn is very, very important, because let us say I told you Sun, Mars, or Jupiter, any of these planets, if it is present in Uttara Bhadrapada, then it's going to remove that inertia, and thereby the talent can come up. But whether it is Sun or Mars or Rahu, whatever planet is present in this particular nakshatra, it has to work for a Saturn, because every planet works for its nakshatra lord. There's a fundamental principle in Vedic astrology, right? So the Saturn's placement, if let us say Saturn is present in somewhere in the 8th house, then this Uttara Bhadrapada planet, whatever planet is present here, like something like Mars, it has to work for 8th house, right? So this really matters. The position of Saturn is really, really important. So the placement of Saturn is very much important. And now, the serpent of the depths is the word we always use for this nakshatra, this Uttarabhadrapada nakshatra. So the serpent of the depths is quiet and immobile and inert creature. It is somewhere down in the ocean. And it requires, definitely it requires some external agency or some force, some a very, very good force to completely arouse it, to completely, you know, to completely take it up to the surface. So the fiery planets, the optimistic planets are very much very, very, very important here. Even Rahu's presence also, even if Rahu is present, it's very good here because Rahu can remove that inertia, right? Definitely it can remove that inertia, but where Saturn is present, of course, the Saturn's placement is very much important as we discussed just a moment ago. So, optimistic planets, a fiery planet. Jupiter is an optimistic planet, so even the presence of Jupiter is very good here. Of course, Saturn's placement is always important. Let's keep it aside. But as a natural karakatva, based on natural karakatva, Jupiter is also good here because Jupiter will try to get that underwater serpent out, that is the hidden talent out. Of course, Sun and Mars, as we discussed, they also can completely break that latent inertia. So, the placement of any planet, if uh, if someone really is very much interested in the yogic sciences or something like the divine things, right? Better, better if they have any planet in Uttarabhadrapada, any planet, because every planet tries to get that talent out, right? If not at 20s, at 30s, if not at 30s, at 40, 50s, 70s, right? At least the presence of some planet is also good. At a minimum level, because the presence of Uttarabhadrapada is something divine. So it can initiate some destructive energy or some evil actions, you can say. But you know, the Purva Bhadrapada, which is the predecessor of this particular nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapada is actually the kind of destruction or the evil action that is triggered by Purva Bhadrapada energy sometimes has no purpose. It just has to show its cruelty, its anger or whatever. That's where the Purva Bhadrapada is a kind of negative nakshatra compared to Uttara Bhadrapada. But Uttara Bhadrapada's evil action or destructive action, the destructive action, you understand the intensity of that word, the evil action, means when you are observing a native with Uttara Bhadrapada energy is performing an evil action, a destructive action. When you are watching it alive, just imagine, it seems to be, very, very, it's evil, it's destructive, right? But still, it has some reason, a very good reason, generally, we say. But Purva Bhadrapada, the purpose. It may not have a very great purpose, but it just that the native has a lot of that cruelty or anger. If some Mars is somewhere, it's very good. Mars and uh, any other planet is giving that strength to show that anger, especially Mars, then the Pura Bhadrapada person is showing some anger. And just imagine if you ask that person what is your purpose of doing this evil action, this cruel action, you know, he may not be able to tell. It's just that his tendency is that way, his nature is that way. But Uttarabhadrapada has some good reason. So even when causing destruction, it actually puts less emphasis on cruelty, right? So it's not a cruel nakshatra, Uttarabhadrapada. Cruelty is not much more present. So its anger is actually, its anger is sublimated. It has some wholesome purpose, and it is not mindless, right? And another one is it has some reason, whatever, right? It has some reason. And one more thing is it likes to come out with the best possible solution for a given problem. So, and also when there is a kind of frictional environment going on between two parties, or two parties have some problem, or two teams have some problem, then Uttarabhadrapada can give a best possible solution which can satisfy both the parties, both the teams, right? That's why in the previous video I said a village head, or a kind of you can say a top head of a community, where if any problem comes in the community, they go to the top head of that community. So a top head of a community, a village head, right, a counselor. So such a native you can see with Lord Uttarabhadrapada energy. So one more interesting thing is about this nakshatra is it is usually has an eye for the needs of others, right? It's very compassionate. It checks for the needs of others. So it tries to do some benefit to others. And sometimes what happens, so when you try to do good for others, in reverse they try to do good to you, so such kind of things also can happen to this nakshatra. If this nakshatra native tries to do something good for others, as they always have the eye to do something good for others, in return they also get some benefit, right? So they also get some benefit. So generally you can say they usually benefit from gifts, donations and inheritance as well. The Uttarabhadrapada energy can give some good amount of inheritance. Sometimes gifts and donations they get a lot, because it's a divine nakshatra and it is present in the ocean, in the celestial ocean, Pisces, in the middle, right? So one interesting thing I want to tell you, one more interesting thing is that it is generally a fortunate energy, and it's very good in handling money, right? right? Very good in handling money as well. Totally, the energy seems to be a very, very positive. There's no negative thing we can attach with this. If you find negative things with Uttarabhadrapada energy people, most of the times it is because of the other planets, not because of that Uttarabhadrapada energy planet. It can be because of the other planets. So if other planets are also very well placed, then Uttara Bhadrapada people can be very, very good. They are they're unique basically, right? Every Uttara Bhadrapada is unique. And this nakshatra, whenever you talk about this nakshatra, you talk about a vanaprastha. A vanaprastha is actually the third stage of life based on the Vedic literature. So, after Gruhasthasrama, means when a person is in the married life, right? So, that is called as Gruhasthasrama. After that, you have this Vanaprastha, is the third stage of life. So, that is always associated with this nakshatra. So it's not about marriage, enjoying after marriage, going to honeymoon, not this kind of thing. Okay, this is about the vanaprastha, the third stage of life. It's something like, means what is vanaprastha? It's the native is actually supposed to cut off all the worldly bondages and retire to the forest. Why he goes to the forest? Because he wants enlightenment. He cannot get enlightenment in the society. Means the society is very bad. Is it? It doesn't give any kind of enlightenment. Yes, it doesn't give any kind of enlightenment. The society talks about material world. The society is basically about materialism. It's about money. It's about, if you want food in the society, you need money, and in order to get money you need to do some work, right? Or you need to interact with some people who are very much involved in materialism, who are always seeking for something, uh, you know by doing some actions, by doing some work, or by behaving very cunningly, or by cheating, they try to get some money. Whatever the society is, actually it's not about enlightenment. It's only about happiness. It's about desires, fulfilling the desires. It's about that. It's not about enlightenment. The desires I'm talking about are the material desires. So the society is always about satisfying the materialistic desires. But enlightenment, right, you can only get by clearly going out of this society, or you just cut off all your worldly bondages. So that is this energy, the vanaprastha. Uttara Bhadrapada vanaprastha is the vanaprastha. That's why as the figures also are associated here. Rabindranath Tagore, just imagine, right? With a big beard, white beard, right? A wisdom, an old man with lot of wisdom. A Rajneesh Osho, the same figure, similar figure, right? So it's all about the Vanaprastha, all about meditation, yogic sciences, spirituality, astrology. So it has secretive and also living in some kind of seclusion, or living alone, the reclusive tendencies, you can say. So these things, when you see these things, it's very serene, quite calm, right? So if you observe these secretive, reclusive tendencies, they sometimes make the native under the strong influence of this particular energy. Uh, they try to retire from the worldly activities, the worldly duties. you know they feel like living all this materialistic world and living very very peacefully. They try to do it because the Saturn's maturity, just observe, you know, generally when people have a very, very good Saturn, um, you can understand Saturn gives a lot of maturity, right? So, even you say when your seventh house is connected with Saturn, it's somehow something like, especially when you check the seventh cusp, and the sublord of that seventh cusp is uh, is very much strongly associated with the Saturnian energies, then you say the person may get a very very mature spouse, right? So very very mature spouse. So the maturity, a maturity aspect is always associated with Saturn, and the peaks of Saturn is present in Uttarabhadrapada. The Saturn, that is the ruler of Pushyami, is not the Saturn, the ruler of Anuradha, is not the Saturn, the ruler of Uttarabhadrapada. So, lot and lot of maturity is present compared to the Pushyami, to the Anuradha, and to the Uttarabhadrapada, right? So the maturity is exceptional, you can say. That's why they generally think the worldly duties, the worldly activities are just the worldly activities. They are completely materialistic, right? And they add up to so many problems, but not anything else. They have this maturity, and they can get this maturity at the early stages of life itself. That's why they try to renounce, they try to cut off these worldly activities, they try to retire from the worldly duties, right? So that is the energy. So no matter what the evolutionary status Uttara Bhadrapada energy natives has, there is always some seeking towards some higher awareness, no matter what is their evolutionary status. They are, let us say, they have some kind of immaturity, let us say, but still they want the next level of knowledge. They are very much matured. They are the mystics, they are the saints, but still they want the next level of knowledge. They want that higher awareness. They want that next level wisdom, right? They seek for that. That is Saturn, basically, the beautiful Saturn. So in the world, if you observe this Uttara Bhadrapada, if you observe the universe, in the universe, this particular nakshatra which is present in the sky, right? The only two stars, with only two stars, it's present in the sky, and it has an energy, a power called Varshodhyamana Shakti. Varshodhyamana Shakti means the power to bring rain. The power to bring rain. Is rain, the water, and the Pisces, Uttara Bhadrapada in the middle of Pisces. Just imagine water. A Pisces is a watery sign. So it's even our saints try to give a name which is very much related to the energy of this nakshatra, the energy of the sign it is placed in. It has the watery sign, right? So the Varsha, which is rain, the water, that is the name given. That is the Varshodhyamana Shakti, the power to bring about rain, right? So even the symbolism, it has a symbolism like, so this particular Varshodhyamana Shakti, how can you imagine it? You can imagine it by imagining raining clouds at the top and growing plants below it. So it gives you that kind of divine energy, right? That kind of power it can clearly give you. Means it definitely gives you something good. The clouds, raining something, raining water, and the plants are giving. Plants are growing. It's growing, right? What the plants are doing, they are growing. They are going to the next level. So the same thing here. So they seek a higher awareness, the next level awareness, irrespective of their evolutionary status, irrespective of their current status of mind, irrespective of that, they want something more, something higher knowledge, higher awareness. It's not knowledge actually. Knowledge is something like too a low word, but it's awareness, right? A higher awareness. So this kind of image, so you can also say, we also already discussed Uttarabhadrapada is also very much associated with fertility. They have a lot of sons or a lot of progeny, a lot of daughters or whatever, lot of progeny. That's what I can say. And even the energy flows through genes, and even their sons and daughters have this Uttarabhadrapada connection somewhere in their horoscopes, and they also have that energy of fertility running on throughout the generations, right? So that is one of the best energy. So fertility, right? So the rain is coming and the plants are growing. Plants are growing, they are not just inert, they are growing there, right? They are fruitful basically, so they are fertile. So when fifth house energies are very much related to Uttarabhadrapada Nakshatra, you can say they are going to get sons and daughters for sure. So the rain here connects with the vibrations, the universal vibrations, which can flow through our bodies. If you see that rain as a celestial universal energy coming onto us, let's say we are the plants, and then of course, and the rain that is coming is actually the celestial cosmic energy. If you take, then just imagine it is basically going to elevate us. So this particular spiritual rain, right, it's coming from a celestial ocean of consciousness, and then it is touching on us, it is touching us and making our souls reaching another awareness status or another evolutionary status. A very, very good thing here, right? It's Uttarabhadrapada. Basically, of course, I'm telling you, it seems to be a kind of exaggeration, whatever we discussed, but it is the truth. Provided a beneficial planet is present in Uttarabhadrapada, someone is Sagittarius ascendant and he has his moon in Uttarabhadrapada, then he may ask, I have my moon in Uttarabhadrapada, right? So I'm not getting what you say here. because that's your eighth lord. Moon is your eighth lord. And someone with Leo ascendant is coming and say asking, my moon is in Uttarabhadrapada. And where is my celestial rain? That cosmic rain. It may not be with him because he's a Leo ascendant guy and moon is his malefic. It's the 12th house lord, right? So a malefic planet. And a malefic planet is sitting there. Just imagine, right? And let us say someone with Gemini ascendant and a fifth lord is Venus. Venus is present in Uttarabhadrapada. Very, very good. Venus is very comfortable in Pisces, and that Venus is sitting there. There's a Mula Trikona house is Libra, and the Mula Trikona house lord, the fifth lord, a Panchamadhipati, a very auspicious Venus is sitting in Uttarabhadrapada. It is very good. To what extent? To what extent it is good? Venus is present there, right? And even more, it's the 10th house, right? It's very good. Then it's very good for spirituality. It's very good for your spiritual karmic actions. It's very good for your systematic approach of doing the things. We're not talking about any materialism here. We're just saying they are lucky with money. They can handle money very nicely. That's what I'm saying. We're only talking about that hidden spiritual energy, the unique energy, right? We're not talking something like Uttarabhadrapada people can become the, President of United States of America. I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying Uttarabhadrapada energy people are going to be can become the world's multi-millionaires. I'm not talking that. I'm saying they are very calm and quiet. It's very celestial, cosmic energy. Where what we talked, just observe. It's a Saturnian discipline. They can get Saturnian focus, meditational energy, a very beautiful, unique energy. And one more thing I want to tell you, even for the Gemini ascendant, the fifth lord, a beautiful Lord Venus is sitting there, auspicious Lord in Uttarabhadrapada. But what about the Saturn? Where is the Saturn? That you need to check, right? Even though Venus is in Uttarabhadrapada, this Venus actually works for its Nakshatra Lord, that is Saturn. Saturn is somewhere in the 6th house. Then what happens? It is going to work for the 6th house things, this particular Venus. So that can be to an extent good for getting jobs, but the 6th house is also to an extent disputes. They cannot be very, very great at disputes. They may go to competition and they may fail. It's not very good because this energy is very calm and quiet. It is not good for it's not very good for confronting someone. It's not very good for dominating someone. It's not good for that. Of course, there is a destructive aspect present, but basically it gives you a very serene, calm and quiet energy. And of course, a 6th house also indicates your daily routines. You can do your daily routines very, very smoothly. If you are, I'm talking about the Gemini ascendant with 5th house Lord Venus in the Uttarabhadrapada and the Saturn is in the 6th house, right? So 6th house is about daily routines. So we can say they can have the daily routine smoothly running energy. They have the tendency, right? So you need to check the whole horoscope, right? So Now they can do the karma very systematically. The Gemini ascendant, and just now I gave one example, the Gemini ascendant with fifth Lord Venus in Uttarabhadrapada and Saturn in sixth. They can do the daily routines very, very nicely, but where is the Lagna Lord? Is the Lagna Lord having enough strength so that the person does not have any kind of disease? His body is having enough strength. We need to check the Lagna Lord as well. So the whole horoscope is to be checked, right? Then only we can say, but this energy is always, if this particular placement is present, it always gives you this kind of energy for sure, right? And the remaining things, for the remaining things, we need to check the remaining planets, remaining energies, right? So your horoscope is a combination of different energies. So this is about Uttarabhadrapada for now. Tomorrow we'll try to discuss more on this nakshatra. It's one of the beautiful nakshatras. No negative. We talked till now about Uttarabhadrapada. And if you find any kind of negative things in Uttarabhadrapada, positive energy horoscopes, it can be because of the other planets present in the horoscope. Thanks for watching this video.